Welcome everybody to Business Monday at GoLocal Live. I'm Josh Fenton, CEO of GoLocal. Big day in news today. Just about everything's going on. Link Chafee's running for president as a libertarian. A Providence lawyer has been indicted by the feds for stealing a dead person's payments for the last 12 years. Just about everything, and we're all in post-Patriot depression a little bit. But with me is Cowen from Polaris, MEP. You've got big news, lots of things going on. You guys are kind of the epicenter for supporting the manufacturing world in Rhode Island. Talk about what's coming down.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. I think we have better uplifting news than a lot of the other things that are going on.
Certainly better than the Patriots.
That's right. Yeah, we have. So Polaris is a nonprofit 501c3 entity. We're part of the national MEP network supporting local manufacturers here in Rhode Island. We've got a new initiative that we have launched in the middle of December called 401 Tech Bridge, and it's a materials innovation center that's based on a multi-campus concept.
So at URI, at the University of Rhode Island, one of the better engineering schools in the country, and also other scientific aspects, and then also probably going down to Newport, where a lot of the innovation for the United States Navy is taking place. This is a no-joke initiative. This is with top suppliers to the United States military, as well as aspects of the Navy. What does this do for potentially springboarding more growth in the defense-related industries in Rhode Island?
Yeah, well, and the concept has actually been around. We've been floating this concept around for 3 years now, and it was based around really solid industries here around textiles and composite industries, which have been around for decades. And how do we support these industries better? So we've had this concept supported by Senator Whitehouse for a long time around building this center of excellence, which as it evolved, turned into a materials innovation center. And it's really based on supporting existing companies here in Rhode Island to take their technology, their ingenuity, and connect them into the Navy. We had this concept, the Office of Naval Research became aware of what we were proposing. They showed interest in how what we were doing could potentially solve a lot of the technology problems that the Navy was facing. So in then was born this 401 Tech Bridge.
Navy's military, Pentagon are good at moving troops from here to there. They're not necessarily always the speediest to market in developing technology. And it's just cultural, basis on how long it takes and to get through procurement and to get through Congress on funding new. So this is kind of a workaround a little bit to have some potential application that technology can be expedited, that they can review and test and give it some rigor to be able to be applied.
And the Navy processes that are in place are all needed and super important, especially when you consider the security of our nation. And this is, rather than call it a workaround, I'd call it an additional resource that the Navy can leverage to when they have problems that are a non-secure aspect. How can they leverage the speed of companies to make sure that they get products into the warfighters' hands faster than has happened in the past? The exciting part to me is when the Navy comes into the state of Rhode Island, they see the incredible assets with Newark here in Newport, as well as all of these small companies that we've connected with the Navy, and how do they, or the Navy saw the incredibly fast innovation happening at those companies, and they wanted to see if they could leverage it to move the Navy forward.
These innovation centers, there's 5 of them coming online over the next couple of years. The genesis of that was a statewide bond issue passed 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, which taxpayers voters overwhelmingly supported. How is that investment by Rhode Islanders into this going to make a difference long term, both for the United States Navy, but also for the Rhode Island economy?
Yeah, and I want to thank the state of Rhode Island. So the Governor's Innovation Campus program has been incredibly impactful for not just us, but the other innovation programs as well. For the 401 Tech Bridge, the Innovation Campus funding was the first one in. So really, we've got several different funding sources from the Department of Commerce with NIST MEP, to other state partners, to private entities as well, but really was all enabled by the Innovation Campus program. Their intention is to boost the economy of the state. 401 Tech Bridge is really looking to connect funded projects, the Navy being the first one, but not the only one. How do we connect these funded projects into companies in Rhode Island to help them increase their business, create new products, hire more people? So we really see this as boosting jobs, economy, and revenue for the state.
So let's talk about the tough issue facing most employers in Rhode Island, which is the workforce. So, we've probably had 100 companies on Business Monday, everybody from, one person, 3 months in startups to Right Solutions, I think is one of the naval contractors. And all of them say the exact same thing. The biggest hurdle to their growth is qualified, educated, dependable workforce. And everybody's looking right now. And how does this have some potential implications in being able to help develop a stronger workforce?
Yeah, I have the luxury. There's 1,600 manufacturers in Rhode Island. I've got the luxury of visiting most of them. And Josh, you're right. Really, most or all of them say workforce is their number one issue. 401 Tech Bridge addresses that specifically. We're really not only looking to fill existing jobs, to really skill up the workforce. So connecting with the University of Rhode Island, making sure that students coming out of there have the hands-on experience, have the technical knowledge to really help grow these companies quickly is important. So that's part of the initiative that's really tied into the growth and the support of the workforce here in the state. Real Jobs Rhode Island from DLT also, I've been told with my colleagues around the country, it is the most dynamic workforce development program in the country. And it's really helping push not just 401 Tech Bridge, but also push companies into more and more avenues to get their workforce and to train their workforce.
Is that the number one issue facing Rhode Island and who you work with on a day-to-day basis is the workforce development?
Yeah, I mean, I think
is that the pain?
It is, for sure. I think there are two big focus points right now for small manufacturers. The biggest one, number one, is workforce, without a doubt. The second one is technology. So manufacturers in Rhode Island are really looking at how technology is changing their products, changing their processes, changing their plant. So 401 Tech Bridge is really designed to do both. Really look at skilling up from a connection to University of Rhode Island, but also the IRIS School for Technologies and Trades. How do we connect these workforce programs in to skill them up and support these companies' growth quickly?
The other good news about this, you hate to put it in this perspective, is the defense industry is also one of the more resilient ones in downturn economies. So, and by the way the last week's been going, it may be a significant growth economy. I used to work with Gore-Tex, WL Gore, and they supplied all the special forces. And they had sort of a black box facility in which commanders would literally helicopter in to pick out different equipment. And there were people at Gore who literally, based on what they were selecting, knew where it was going to happen in the world almost ahead of time. I mean, they were all under strict NDAs, but we're now entering into one of those periods of potential conflict. How does this support from a speed to market, I guess you'd say? Will there be fast-tracked development of new initiatives that may come through your innovation facility to be able to expedite and get to the front lines quicker?
Yeah, so that's the concept, Josh, and let me give you an example actually to highlight what your experience as well. So late last year, the Brickell Group out of Woonsocket announced a multi-million-dollar contract that they were just awarded. So they're a textile company, so they're making
They used
garments.
to just make blankets.
Yeah, that's right.
They used to make every military blanket like in the world.
And they still do make a lot of woolen blankets up at the Brickell Group for sure. But they, like a lot of the other textile companies that are still around, really got a lot more technical. Their products have evolved because they had to. So they're now looking at providing very highly technical, high-performance garments into the military. So there are textile companies that are winning, and composite companies that are winning government business, that are providing into the defense. But the concept of this project from a defense standpoint, again, driven by the Navy to really speed up the time where technology gets deployed to the warfighter. So how do you again, from an unsecure standpoint, an unsecure standpoint, how do you get the products developed and then deployed quickly?
If I'm a startup in Rhode Island and I see that I'm developing something that may have some application or applicability to what you're doing, what's the step they should take to contact you guys?
So you can contact Polaris. Our website is polarismep.org. So companies have the ability to contact us directly. However, there is an organization called the Rhode Island Textile Innovation Network, who are a membership organization run by Michael Woody from TransTex, an incredible leader, and the Composite Alliance of Rhode Island, who's also run by Wendy Mackey. So contacting those two organizations, that's how we're looking to make sure that all of the companies get aware of it. The other thing that's important to note is this is not a defense-only initiative. So the Navy is supporting it. However, even the Navy wants us to help support companies selling these products into the commercial market, because the Navy knows that's better sustainability for the company and in the end run better for the Navy. So from a materials innovation, how do companies get access to funded projects? It's connections with Polaris or the Composite Alliance or with the Rhode Island Textile Innovation Network.
Great. Christian, thanks so much.
Thanks, Josh.
It was great having you on.
Thanks for having
Everybody,
me.
thanks for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow. Kate Nagel's lineup, I have no idea. I know that Professor Lawless is somewhere in the Caribbean dealing with all sorts of issues down there, including, I believe, an earthquake. But we'll be back tomorrow afternoon. Stay tuned. Other news is breaking here at GoLocal. Thanks very much, everyone.